Agud Voch Boisai. Brand new year, first year of the year. I want to give a special Akar Satov to Rebbeinu Shleilam for allowing me to give 365 shiurim with cheshek, with geschmack. Should continue Be'ezer Hashem for everybody, for myself as well. Many people came over to me, people that actually are not even part of this year. On Yontif came over and said, we saw this new Kabbalah thing, we liked it. A guy came over and he said, I like it a lot. But I noticed him talking during Kaddish. I'm not kidding. But he liked the Kabbalah. He liked the idea. The concept was good to him. Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah.
אחים יקרים ואהובים, אוהבי השם וחושבי שמו. אתם עושים קבלה טובה לקראת השנה החדשה? יש לי קבלה בשבילכם. אנחנו באים לבית הכנסת להתפלל, להרבות זכויות. יש דבר אחד שמאוד מאוד חשוב לשים לב אליו, לא לדבר בשעת הקדיש. פשוט לא לדבר. לא, מישהו שואל, מה, אסור לדבר מילה אחת בשעת הקדיש. זה קבלה קטנה, אבל מרגילה אותנו לא לדבר בכלל בבית הכנסת. שתדעו, האחים יקרים שלי, שהזוהר הקדוש מאוד 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 מחמיר בדיבורים בבית הכנסת, בית כנסת במיוחד שהוא קבוע והוא נעשה לשם בית כנסת, עדיף להימנע מלדבר. דבר איתו בחוץ, אחי. אחרי התפילה, החוצה תדבר, אבל לפחות לא בשעת הקדיש. בבקשה, קבלה קטנה, שנה חדשה, ובעזרת השם, בזכותה, הקדוש ברוך הוא יגזור לכם חיים טובים, בשורות טובות, ישועות ונחמות, אמן כן יהי רצון.
Shkoyach. We're not pushing it. We're not saying don't talk in shul, b'chlal. Talk during Chazar Shas. Do whatever. Not during Kaddish. Chazar Shal. The Masech is sponsored by David Salomon. Rabbi Say, forgive me, I came 15 minutes late this year. It's a nice that I'm here, b'chlal. Two shiurim. I had to prepare 2 shiurim after Yontif. So we're gonna. Pretty soon. What is it? In 40 minutes, the Israelis are going to be mamish pushing us out. Masech sponsor David Salomon, dedicated in memory of Imoiri, Reb Shmuel Baruch ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Dov. I think the air conditioner is not on or something. What's going on? No, noch nicht. Reb Shmuel Baruch ben Reb Chaim Tzvi Dov Zichron Livracha. Masech sponsored. You gotta make sure that it's on the right temperature so that the whole year will be the right temperature. So something's wrong with the machine, maybe.
It'll be very vibrant this year.
Masech sponsor anonymous Lishmas Doidi Shlomo Yehuda Zuchron Baruch ben Shmuel Chaim Zuchron Baruch Shoka Veloma Kochim Kol Chayav anonymous L'schus Refuah Shlema Nachum Tzvi ben Yenta, sponsored by Skyberg Capital in honor of our friends Meir Kovacs Taki in Shamshi Shlafrak for the devotion to Torah study and the Shir. Where's Taki? I saw him today. Joel Gedalius Lishmas, my father. Jack Gedalius anonymous Hatzlocha Baruchnis of Gashmias. Koil sponsors monthly anonymous from London Hatzlocha in business for the day Yitro ben Avram. May Hashem bless Rabeli and his family and all the members of the NDY. L'shana Toiva Umetuka. Monthly sponsors TCS Israel, powered by Talking Save Aaron Kessler. In honor of the marriage of my son and my daughter, and my relocating to Eden Gardens in Orlando, Florida. Anonymous from London Hatzlocha beParnasa. Monthly sponsors, Yehuda Loshinsky, in honor of my father's 6th cycle of the Daf, your big heart and giving to the community is inspiration for all of us. Anonymous, Baruch Adbeli Dai, Yehuda ben Yomin ben Chava, and Baruch Tzvi Nisim ben Shoshan Aleya. Coffee, Rivka and Dr. Avram Epstein, pray for a complete speedy recovery for Dr. Harold Goldmeyer, who just lost his wife, a month ago? He's in the hospital. Has some complications. Should have a refuah shlema. Weekly sponsors: Sheldon and Donna Reich, Lili Nishmas, Nachum ben Pinchas Halevi, and Noach ben Yehuda. May the neshamot have aliyot. And may Shlomo Reuben ben Hinda have a speedy refuah shlema. Anonymous for a year full of atzlach and ruchnis and gashmias. Daily sponsors: Kiddovations LLC as a schus for Akiva Simcha ben Feiga. A shidduch for Rivki Yehuda's Bas Yafachaya. Thank you to Rabbi Stefansky. It should be a schus for a year filled with mazel bracha, atzlach, parnasa, berevach, and refuah. I might have put on the next year. He sponsored the whatever for the whole shul, l'schus, Akiva Simcha ben Feiga, and for Eli Stefansky. So Yishkoyach. Anonymous, Lili Nishmas, Habocher, Chaim Tzvi ben Rebelio Nota, Chatzi Katz. Who's that?
Famous Chazan. Pastor.
On his first yard side, his music and laughter brought light to so many. He's a Bacher? 20 something Chazan? Okay. Where was I when he was nifter?
Show last year.
Refuah Shleima for Yehonatan Eitan ben Basheva Bracha. So he came to the Vasikim minyan. He stayed yesterday. He stayed the entire thing. Came in a wheelchair, and today he stayed for Shacharis. He had to leave after Shacharis. Unbelievable. Refuah Shleima Mordechai ben Esther. Refuah Hayela Daniel Zev ben Yael Esther. Turning of the daf. Not yet. All right, Rabbi Sai, Yishkoyach. Ariel, checking out here. We hear there's a lot of emails from through the years. So here's the person behind the emails. He's a Rebbe in Torah V'das, 5th grade. There's a whole matzah with the daf, and he brings them to Siyumim, and we see throughout the year different things. Shkoyach for coming. Who's your Rebbe that you came for?
Stone.
A lot of people came.
400 Americans.
400 Americans. Wow. Valdik. Okay. It's crazy. No, that's like, those of us who are not Hasidim don't understand, but I was speaking to Menachem Mendel Fenster, the Belzer, he said 20,000 Hasidim come, he stands, he has a special place outside by the sink. He doesn't hear a word of the davening, he doesn't know what's flying, he's there, the whole thing, they stay, that's how they are, standing like a sardine, you gotta be there, it's unbelievable.
7,000.
You have a seat, you're able to sit?
Yeah, I bought. You have to buy a seat where you stand on the bleachers.
He stayed on the bleachers the entire davening. What time was davening over?
3 o'clock. We started 8.
We also finished like the same Kimat, 8:30. 8:30 a.m. 8:30 a.m. You 3 o'clock. Very similar. No break, 3 o'clock. Wow. Okay. Oh, this is the first time I'm saying this. Oh yeah. So the Vasikin finished day 1 at 8:35. Day 2, first of all, the Nets was 1 minute later. So they finished at 8:40. They had 2 different chazanim, so they slept a little bit. So it went 5 minutes longer. Omar Rav. There's 160 people there. In base tefillah in the basement. 160 people paid for a seat. Omar Rav. Chatos chaylev sheshachta l'shem chatas dam. Rabbi say, a person, he ate chaylev b'shoigeg, so he brings a chatos, and the kohen messed up and said that it should be a chatas dam. What is that called? Shinui? The Ariel is not holding yet. The Ariel is like still with the honey and the apple. Okay, Shinui kodesh. L'shem chatas avodah zara sheira. So if he messes up the type of chatos it is, it's kosher. He goes from chaylev to dam, chaylev to avodah zara, kosher. However, l'shem chatas nazir, l'shem chatas mitzora psula. This is also a different type of chatos, but it's so different that it's like changing it to another type of carbon. A chatos nazir and a chatos mitzora, they didn't sin. We spoke about it the other day. They bring a chatas because this is the procedure, how you get out of your tumah, how you finish up the kapara, not the kapara, but the whole procedure. You bring this, you bring that, a whole bunch of karbanas, shlamim, that. So if you told the kohen that you're bringing a chatas chaylev for chaylev, and he switches it to mitzayra, which is a completely, it's a chatas, but it's for a gift, it's not for a kapara, pasul. It's just like switching a chatas to shlamim. Hani oilos ninu. The Gemara doesn't mean it's an oila. The Gemara means that it's like an oila. It's a chatas, it's like an oila, it's like a gift. Why Rava? So we have a shayla. Chatas chaylev, remember this question, because Rava's son is going to say something that the Gemara is going to say. So what was your father's question? So chatas chaylev sheshachta l'shem chatas the tumas migdash v'kadosh of mahu. What are we talking about here? Shinui kodesh. We're changing the type of carbon. What's shinui bailam? We're changing, the kohen is changing the ownership. He asks, what about the chatas that you bring if you go into the Beis HaMikdash when you're tamei? What about if the kohen switched from chaylev to tumas migdash v'kadosh? What's the question? Mi amrinu kares kamaisa. They're both chatas, they're both kares. It's the same thing, so it's not a big deal. Oidilma ein kavua kamaisa. When you walk into the Beis HaMikdash, betuma, it depends how wealthy you are. There's a whole scale. If you're poor, if you're rich, you bring an animal. If you're poor, you bring birds. And if you're super poor, you bring soilas, you bring a mincha. So I don't know, maybe not. So he says teiku. Ravacha bered the Rav Master. I just threw in teiku. Fine. Me, I mean, cars kamaisa. Forget the teiku. I do my enkavu kamaisa. Oh, it does say teiku over here. It does say, it says teiku on the side. Hagoyz etziunim teiku. Givaldik. Ravacha bered the Rav Master kula lepsulo. So comes Rav's son and says, my father said that when a kohen messes up between chaylev and dam, even the two most similar korbanos, they're both in the same pasuk. They both have the same kares. Very similar. One is for chaylev, eating chaylev. One is for eating dam. Pasul. No, not like we said before. It's kosher. Pasul. My taima v'shachadei salachatos. L'shem moisachatos has to be exact. The kohen has to be very precise. You bring it for a chaylev. Don't mess up the dam. I don't understand how you could tell me such a thing in the name of your father. Boy, the Rava, so what's the pshat in Rava's question? What happens if he mixes up between a chaylev karban chatos to a mikdash v'kadash of tumas mikdash v'kadash of chatos? Of course, in that case, it's no good. Even dam and chaylev, you said, is no good. So certainly, mikdash v'kadash is no good. Omar Le, you messed up. He says, no, you don't understand my father. You're talking about Shinui Kodesh, going from one type of carbon to another type of carbon. No. My father's question was in Shinui Bailam. Same thing, but in Shinui Bailam. If the Kohen messes up and says that this chatos should be, instead of somebody, Reuven, who ate chaylev, it's for Shimon, who ate blood, it's two different people now. And or some Shimon did avodah zara. Pasul. That's pasul. And if he says that he's changing ownership for somebody that's chayav a chatas and a mitzayra, then it's kosher. Why? Because it's something completely different. It's like a oila. So therefore, Rav asked the question by Rav. What happens if I change from a chatas chaylev and Reuven and I go to Shimon who's chayav a chatas for going to Beis Hamikdash b'tumah? So is it similar to it? And in switching bailim would be a problem, or is it dissimilar? It's not similar to it, and therefore it's okay. Teiku. Itmar. Shachta l'shma, lizrik dama, shaloi l'shma. So, whoa. Let's see if this works here. I asked Yoshi to do this Matzah Yantav. So let's see, I don't know, I didn't see it yet. I didn't see any of the art. I was moving. Had a lot of stuff to take care of and give him a lot of ideas and stuff. Does this move? It doesn't move. Okay. What happened? This is good. This actually helps. The guy is in the process of doing what? Rabbi said, what is he doing? Shchita. He's thinking in his brain, Zrika. Shaloi l'shma. Again, he's doing shchita, but in his brain, he's thinking about Zrika Shaloi l'shma. That he's going to mess up the Zrika. In a Shinui Kodesh, in other words, when he does the Zrika, it's a lot of information. When he's thinking to himself, when I do the Zrika, you see that it says Ayla over there? Ayla? Oh, Givaldik. If you zoom in over here, now he's doing the Zrika for a Shlamim. Now he's doing Shchita of an Ayla. He's thinking, I'm going to do Zrika l'sheim Shlamim with this blood.
Different person.
No, it's not a different person. I don't care. The kohen doesn't have to be the same kohen. Oh, that we discussed already. Fine. It would be better. You're right. It would be better if it was the same kohen. Okay? But it's a good thing that I zoomed in on here, over here. Okay? I wish it was a little larger, but we get the idea. The idea is he's shechting an oila, thinking in his brain that he's going to do the zrika for a shlamim. Now, Rabbi said we're going to introduce the concept called pigul, and we must know this concept inside out, backside, forwards, because we're going to be discussing it hundreds of times. There's two concepts: chutz l'zmanoi, chutz l'munkaimai. Let's see what we have here to make it easier. Whoa, it's not even on here? Gershon, I need them desperately. Why is it not on here? I need everything that has to do with
Pigul.
Gershon, you got to call right now. You got to call the air conditioning guy. It's off. The air conditioner's not working. It's hot like anything. I have to give 3 shiurim now. I can't do it. We need emergency service tonight. I'm not joking. Tell Eli to get over here right away. Okay. There's maybe it's in Daf Aleph. You have any things that have to do with pigul? It shows a bubble. How's it not in here? What daf did I give? I gave Daf Yud. I had it here. In test?
Because this is the end of the test.
Oh, it's in test, he's saying. Go to test. At the end of test, on the bottom of test. Super important. You have it? And call Eli while you're checking now. Okay, so let's just discuss it first. Very, very simple. Well, maybe not. Pigul means that the kohen, while he's doing one of the 4 avodas, he's thinking to himself that he's going to do the zrika or eating. They're the same, zrika and eating, because zrika is feeding the mizbeach, eating is, they're both eating. He thinks himself he's going to eat or do the zrika after the allotted time, after the time that's mutter. So in other words, let's say you're allowed to eat a carbon for, there's a video actually also.
Yoshi added something now.
No, forget Yoshi. It's on Def Test. You have it, or you can't find it yet. Dave, do me a favor. Call Yoshi. Tell Yoshi that he should put into Daf Yud everything that he did on Erev Yontif for Pigul. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Nachum Plum.
Nachum what?
You asked me 2 days ago.
I did? Well, are you part of the shir? You don't know? That means nothing? What's the last name again? Plim. You didn't say that last time. Okay. Nachamo. A kohen is shechting, very similar to over here, but different. Let's not get confused. Now we're talking about shinui kodesh. He's changing the type of carbon that he's going to be thinking about while he does riko. That's not pigul. Pigul means that he's going to eat the steak. Oh, there's a picture. You told him?
I'm going to switch it to Dr. Best now, okay? And then I'll move it back.
Okay, that's a good idea. Excellent. So, while he's doing shechita, he's thinking to himself, I am going to eat this carbon in 4 days from now. Now everybody knows you can't eat a carbon 4 days later. You can only eat a carbon 2 days later or 1 day later, not 3-4 days. He says, but I have a gishmak barbecue coming up. I'm inviting my whole family. I'm going to eat this carbon in 4 or 5 days from now. That's called pigul. When you think it ruins the carbon. If you actually eat it, you get karas. There's something similar, almost the same thing, but it's very different because you don't get karas, and that's called chutz m'kaimai. He thinks to himself, as he's shechting, I'm going to eat this carbon in Bet Shemesh. Now, Bet Shemesh is also to eat the carbon. You can eat it either inside the Azaras or in Karbanis, or in Yerushalayim, but not in Bet Shemesh. Bet Shemesh is not Yerushalayim. I don't care what the Americans here think. Here, let's see what this is. You can make the sound a little bit. As he's shechting, he's thinking to himself that he's going to put it in the freezer and use it. I did show this already. Oh, I didn't know what it was. 1 day goes by, 2 days go by, whatever that you're showing over there. Snowing, it rained, the whole thing. He got a little older. Now he's back to life. Okay. So in his mind, he thought he's going to eat it out of the allotted time, or zrika. He's gonna sprinkle the blood in 3 days from now. That's pigul. That's called mchutz zmanoi. And chutz l'mkoimai is this. He thinks to himself, I'm going to make a geshmaka barbecue outside of the walls of Yerushalayim or whatever it is. Yeah? And it's a korban asham. Fine. Oh. Geshmak. Yeah. So what does that have to do with us? Has everything to do with us. Because in our case, it's very similar. Here, let's put them both together. If he thinks chutz l'zmanoi, that he's going to eat it after you're allowed to eat it, that's called pigul, and the chiyuv is kares. If he thinks to himself he's going to eat it outside of the place, it might be in the right time. I'm going to do it today. But in Bet Shemesh, it's pasul, and there's no kares. Okay. This is the right way to do it. Anybody that had a question, is the Kohen's hand. Kohen's hands are under the Yisrael's hand. Okay. So, now, maybe, you can take this, Gershon.
Yeah.
Take them all and put them in the next one. Let's go to the next one now. Okay, go back. Later on, take these four. Yeah, those four. But now get me back to where I need to be. Okay, so, we're still on this, they're coming in 20 minutes, and we didn't even get to our daf yet. But this is the important thing. Happens to be, so we're asking like this. Shachta l'shma, lizrik dama, shaloi l'shma. He shechted the animal with the intent to throw the blood that I showed you here, this one, right here, on thing. This is similar, but not really, to pigul. Because pigul also, in middle shechita, he's thinking about when he's going to throw the blood. What day he's going to throw the blood. Over here, he's thinking, I'm going to throw the blood without the right intent, without the right carbon. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Psula, Rish Lakish Amar Ksheira. We have a machloikis. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Psula, why is it possible? Mechashim avoida avoida. I could think from one avoida from shechita. I'm in middle shechita thinking about zrika. And the reason is, because I learned it from something called pigul, which is a big problem. I can't, this case, I'm in the middle of shechita, I can't think about zrika shaloi l'shma. Why? Because lo yafinu machshavas pigul. What? Pigul's pigul. That's a Isser Kares in the Beis Hamikdash. This is something else. This is changing from one carbon to another. It's different. So on Rosh Hashanah, I just said over here, I said over from the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah Berurah says, and because I just saw Benny and he gave me a look on Rosh Hashanah. Mishnah Berurah says that a person himself is like bringing a carbon to the Rebbe that brings the Medrash, whatever. So I just threw in that, you shouldn't mess up your Lishma, but we're already past Rosh Hashanah, so Srogim after. Maybe on Yom Kippur, you guys can think, don't mess up the Lishma. It should be like, I'm doing it for myself, not because Pliny's watching, or Pliny cares, or Pliny told me. Okay. Next, there's an Olam where? Oh, in Uman. The same guy. He still has energy. It's unbelievable. What? Kalam Dabrim Batmilah. Wow, very nice. Who did that? You did it? You just noticed it. Yuval. Oh, look, it was there. No, your buddy from Nu. He came to the Shabbaton. What's his name? All right. Says Gemara. You can't go from shchita to zrika. And there's no connection between our case to pigul. The itmar. Daf Yomi without. If somebody shechs an animal, very similar to what we're talking about, he shechs an animal to sprinkle his blood for avodah zara. And he's shechting now, but he's thinking about doing avodah zara with it later. Rabbi Yochanan Asura, he did a whole thing. I wasn't happy with it. Should I do it just because you guys are? That part was good, but the next part. It went from some other car to Mercedes, okay? I told him to fix it because I didn't like
slaughter the animal. Bring me the blood so I can pour it on the statue.
Okay, whatever. I'm not happy with this one. This is time for the. Oh, this is the new one. Okay, I'm not going to show this again. Is it not? Why didn't you take that one out? Okay. He's a consume. Matziyante. No, this one is better probably, but I showed the wrong one. Rabbi Yochanan, what happened was, seriously, it was because it's Matzah Yantiv, I didn't have a chance to give him feedback. And you want to show the end? No, snell, next. Keep on going. Okay, stop over here. Let's see if there's a better ending.
Animal, bring me the blood so I can pour it on the statue.
The same thing. Oh, maybe one is in Hebrew? Okay, forget it. Rabbi Yochanan Asura, it reminds me of those 3D that we used to show. Asura mechashim aveda avoda v'yalfinu chutz mipnim. So avodah zara, says Rabbi Yochanan, I could go. I'm doing shchita now. I can ruin it with the machshava of doing zrika for avodah zara. Why? I learn avodah zara from the karbanos. Chutz is avodah zara. Pnim is the karbanos inside the Beis Hamikdash. Rish Lakish Amar Muteres. Such a thing is not a problem. Why? I cannot go from shchita to avodah zara. I don't learn avodah zara from shchita inside. Utzricha. You have to stick the word in utzricha here. V'yashmina baha. If I don't say about avodah zara, baha amar Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish says because it's so different, shchita and avodah zara, karbanos and avodah zara is different. So that's why it's kosher. But when you do a shinui kodesh, like in our case, they're both inside the Beis Hamikdash, you're just thinking about, I'm going to do the zrika later on for another karban. Maybe I'll say that's also because they're both in the Beis Hamikdash. And if it just says the one in the Beis Hamikdash, that's Rabbi Yochanan says that it's also by but when he thinks about avodah zara, maybe he'll be moeded to Rabbi Shlokish that's mutter because one is inside the Beis Hamikdash, one is outside. Tzrichi. I have a right to Rabbi Yochanan, a right to Rish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan. That what? If I'm thinking in my mind that I'm in the middle of shchita, I'm thinking this case, let me just show it to you so there's no confusion here. In middle of shchita, he's thinking that he's going to do zrika shaloi l'shma. Rabbi Yochanan says it's aser. By Pigol. Listen to this. Thinking about this. If a person is shechting an animal right now, and he says, I'm going to shech this in 3 days from now. Does it ruin anything? No, because he's shechting right now. I can't make up something that's not existing. I'm shechting now. How can I think I'm going to shech in 3 days when I'm shechting now? So, Meila Kosher. But by Pigol, if I shecht it now, thinking I'm going to do Zrika tomorrow, it's possible. So in our case, our whole Masechta that's talking about a person does shchita and thinks that he's shechting a shlamim and he thinks that it's a toida, whatever it is, he ruins it. So then take our case, this case on the screen, when he's shechting and he's thinking about zrika shaloi l'shma, and it didn't she apostle again. Our Masechta is worse off than shchita, than Pigol, the Gemara says. Why? Because when I'm shechting l'shem Pigol, that I'm going to do lachar zman, it's kosher because it's mamash yishtong shtusim. But when I shecht for another karban, it's possible. So certainly, if I shecht and think about zriga for another karban, it should also be possible. There's no connection. chutz l'zman is kares. What do you bring me a raya from there? Elo amarava bariloi hachi kamar. So all the Gemara does right now is instead of saying the same thing again, but instead of talking about pigul, which is kares, we're going to do chutz l'mkaimai, which is not kares, and then you don't have that answer sheken kares. If a guy, as he's shechting, he's saying, I am going to shech this in Bet Shemesh, but he happens to be in the base Mikdash when he's shechting, so he's talking shtusim, and therefore, kosher, shu kosher. Yet, at the same time, if he thought about doing zrika outside in Bet Shemesh, it would be possible, not kares, but that's chutzim koimei, that's possible. Makim shemamar. Hareini shochet shaloi l'shmoi shu pasul shchot al manas lizrik dom shaloi l'shmoi and it did she a pasul. The same kind of chachamim they've said before. So certainly the case of the first Mishnah in our Masechta where a person shechts in order to lizrik dom shaloi l'shmoi. He's shechting right now. He's going to do a zrika without our case. Certainly it should be pasul. Why? Because if I shecht in the first Mishnah in our Masechta, if I shech for a shlamim, I think that it's a taida. It's not good. So certainly, if I shech with the zrika, that's not good. It certainly shouldn't be good. What's the connection? Chutzim koimai is you can't bring a raya from chutzim koimai. We spoke about chutzim zmanai, chutzim koimai. Yeah, these two things. Let me show you on the chart. Everything's good. Here, chutzim koimei, the one on the left. I'm thinking that I'm going to eat it outside. That's in every single carbon in the world. You have a problem with chutzim koimei. But our Mishnah says there's only two karbanos. You can really mess it up completely, and that's a chatas and a pesach. Elo Amar Rav Ashi. Oh, so this Rav Ashi is very important because we're going to bring it another 2 times. But let me just ask you a question. And this is a trick question. You have to think for 2 seconds before you answer. If I say I'm going to shecht, think carefully. Trick. If I say, the Kohen says, I'm going to shecht this carbon, instead of for Ruvain, I'm shechting it for Shimon. Is it pasul or kosher? Anybody? Why kosher?
You have the right carbon in mind?
Why is it kosher? When is Shini Bailam no good? Only by Zrika. Only when you have a machshava of Zrika. Even during Shchita, you think about a machshava of a bad Zrika for another person. But if a Kohen says, I'm not shechting this for Reuven, I'm shechting this for Shimon, it's kosher. Okay? You gotta. We all know this, but we're not like on top of it. So Memela comes Rav Ashi with his big Kavachomer. Hello, Rav Ashi, Kamar. If the Kohen says, I'm not checking for Reuven, I'm checking for Shimon, it's kosher. Why is it kosher, Rabbi Isai? Because there's no Zrika involved in the Shini Bailim, and it's Mele's kosher. Lizroik Damoy L'Shem Ploni Pasul. What's the classic case of Shini Bailim? When the Kohen sticks in a machshava of Zrika, instead of Reuven, it should be for Shimon. My Zrika is going to be for Shimon. So that makes it Pasul. So take the case, the classic case of our Mishnah, where there's a Shini Kodesh. He says that it's not going to be a shlamim, it's not going to be a chatas, it's going to be a shlamim. What happens? It's pasul. And it did she a pasul. So certainly if you think about Zrika, Loy Lishma, not for that type of carbon. You went from a chatas to a shlamim in the zrika. You thought, in this case, right over here, as you're shechting, you're thinking about the zrika, instead of going to be oila, it's going to be something else. So certainly it should ruin it. That's Rav Ashi. I'm not even going to repeat it again. I'm just going to say the Kavachomer Rav Ashi. Rabbi Eli, let's say Rish Lakish. And what did Rabbi Eli bring as a raya to Rish Lakish? That he says that if you do this case right over here on the screen, you go from Shechita and you think to yourself during Shechita that the Zrika is going to be Shalom Shema. It's kosher. Like Toimer Bezrika. Oh, so this is a little tricky. I mean, the wording, it just doesn't tell us anything. It doesn't give a lot of information. But we all remember this. You remember where we brought 3 psukim to say that Shechita, Kabbalah, and Zrika, there's a mitzvah to do it Lishma, and if you and there's another pasuk that says it's Ma'akev, it's Mamish, you have to do it. Fine, that's B'shini Kodesh. So the Gemara now says, very simple, get rid of the Zrika. Why do I need a pasuk by Zrika? Just tell me 2 psukim, Shechita and Kabbalah, and I'll learn Zrika from those 2 psukim. You see what the Gemara says here? Le'toimer b'Zrika, don't give me one of those 3 psukim. In Zrika, v'teisi mikavachoimer b'menaya, m'shchita v'Kabbalah. From there's 2 psukim, one in Shchita, one in Kabbalah. Now, what am I going to learn? Here, says Rashi. U'mashchita shekshera b'zar psula b'shlei l'shma. Shchita that's kosher by Yisrael, but if you have the wrong intent, it ruins it. Zrika le'kolchkein. So certainly Zrika. Why do I need a pasuk by Zrika? If Shaloi Lishma ruins it by Shechita, certainly it will ruin it by Zrika. Now, Kiparchas Mal Shechita Shekem Piseles Shaloi L'Shem. There's one thing that ruins it if you think about an old man who can't chew. Remember the case of an old man who can't chew Korban Pesach? Only during Shechita, not during Zrika. So you can say, oh, Shechita is more chomer. So that I'm going to say, Kabbalah Teichiach. Kabbalah doesn't ruin it by old man, yet you need Lishma. So in other words, with Shechita and Kabbalah, I can learn Zrika. Fine. So then why did the Torah give you another pasuk by Zrika? You cannot think about Avodah Avodah. The obvious question is, maybe the Torah said, you do think about Avodah Avodah. Where's the no? I hear the pasuk comes to tell us a chiddush about Avodah Avodah. But that it's good or not good? Who told you that it's not good? Maybe it is good. Great, you learn from a pasuk the idea of thinking thoughts while you're doing shechita about zrika, but it doesn't say anywhere in the pasuk that's no good. Says the Gemara, no. Don't say any pasuk at all. Don't say a pasuk by zrika. That's the Gavachoyim we just said about from Ravashi. So what is Rabbi Yochanan going to say? Oh, I'm going to need that. Do me a favor, get me that the mizbeach. So, shechita and Kabbalah must be done in the northern part of the Beis Hamikdash. Maybe Gershon could go up to the northern part. I don't have I forgot to bring the. Thank you. This is coming up. Getting ready. So Shechita and Kabbalah have a chumrah that they need a tzafon v'yashnem b'chatois apnimiyos. Even the chatois that come on Yom Kippur and everything that we learned in Harius, you need to do Shechita. You need to do Kabbalah, but you don't need to do Zrika. Zrika not. So I get rid of that Kabbalah. But right now we're talking about Shlomim. It says Rashi, the Shlomim ksiva machshava shel Shmoi, and by Shlomim we know the famous Kokeli song, the whole thing that you have to have Lishma, that if you don't do the Shema, it's possible. So therefore, in Shlomim you can learn you don't need the pasuk by Zrika, and you can't answer all these things because we're talking about Shlomim now. We're not talking about Chatis Apnimiyas. Itmar. New sugya, shchata lishma, lizruk dama shalei lishma. A person shechted, it's not the new sugya, it's the same thing that we had until now. This case, but just different Amoraim. Here we go. Rav Nachman Rav Sula, Rabbi Rav Ksheira, V'hadavi Rabbi Legabi Rav Nachman. At the end, Rabbi said, I agreed to you, Rav Nachman, that it's possible. Because of Rav Ashi. Rabbi Lezer Oimer Afa Asham. What does it say in the Mishnah? Not just the 2 korbanos of Korban Pesach and Chatas that we mess up the Lishma, toss them, but there's a third one called the Asham. Tanya Omer Belezer, Chatas Ba'al Chet, Vasham Ba'al Chet. And the logic is, because a Chatas, what's a Chatas? It comes to forgive and be mechaper for a sin. Vasham Ba'al Chet, and so does Asham. Chatas Shaloi Lishma Psula, Af Asham Shaloi Lishmoi Pasul. So too, the Asham should be Pasul. It's like a Chatas. Givaldik. Beautiful Mizbeach. There's a red line, it's called Chut HaSikra on the Mizbeach. Every single carbon in the world, you spray the blood below the red line. There's only 1.5 that you do above. The Chatas you do above the red line, and a bird. The oila bird goes above the red line. So he says, Why are you comparing a asham to a chatos? Asham has a special chumrah. It's a special animal. You have to throw the blood above the red line. So don't compare your asham. Yeah, it comes for a sin, but the different sins. What do you say? The sins are for what? What's asham? You do b'mezid. Mezid. Gneva is mezid. Mi'ila. Huh? Hashem, yeah. Korban Pesach can teach you that what? Shedami lamata, the blood goes like all other karbanos below the red line. Ushchatish le'lishmoi pasul, yet is still yishachted without the right intent. It's pasul. So too Asham goes below the red line. Pasul. But a Pesach has one day, actually 6 hours of the whole year, from after Chatzos until nighttime. So it has more chumrah. He says, Chatas will prove it. That what? It doesn't have a set time. And what? I'm going around in a circle because a Chatas is above the red line. But Pesach is below the red line. But as is Makavua. But a Chatas is never going when you go around in a circle. What do you do in such a case, Rabbi, when you go around in a circle? Loiri, Zekri, each one has a pro and a con. Each one has a positive and a negative. And Mamela, I take those two, I take the Chatos and the Pesach, and I can learn from the two of them together, I can learn Asham. That we're going to discuss in a few minutes, if we get there, if the Israelis don't kick us out. Sponsor, Turning of the Daf, by their Global Specialists in International Financial Services, Anonymous, as Chus Hatzlach and Ruchnis and Gashmis, Anonymous, the Chus in support of Torah that all tests should come back 100% healthy for me and my family. You hear this, Rabbi Isai? This person is worried about his test. That's what Rosh Hashanah is all about. He had his test before. Nobody knows what's going to happen this year. Nobody knows. We got to daven. So Rabbi Eliezer gives up and he says, "Okay, let me go a different direction." Chatos nemar ba he b'shchita. He lishma kshera shalei lishma psula. It's dafka chatos that you need intent. Other karbanos not. Pesach nemar ba hu b'zvicha. It also says the same word by chatos. Hu lishma kosher shalei lishma pasul. But there's a lot of extra words here we're going to see in a second, repeating these exact words over. You know what? Asham also has who, so the three of them have who? Who lishmoi kosher, shalishmoi apostle. This teaches us you have to have the right intent. Those three, says Rabbi Eliezer. Now we're just repeating the words. What's his point? We had these psukim. I'll remind you again. Here, it says, Pesach who, so it says who by Pesach. But where does it say Asham? After you bring the stuff, when you bring the Aktara, it's past the Shechita, past the Kabbalah. It's all the way at the end. Bringing the stuff up, it's already too late by then. Putting the meat on top, the steaks on top of the Mizbeach. And if you don't do it, it's still kosher. In other words, it's already past the essential four avodas of Shechita, Kabbalah, Ilach, and Zrika. So now he comes in here and he brings a massive bombshell, and we're going to be using this a lot. But it says there's a hekesh. Kachatos kosham. Whatever a chatos has, Asham has. Just like a chatos, you have to have the right intent, and if you don't, you could toss the animal out. So to an Asham. Now we're just going back to that Memetzino, the top of the page, where we said, Chizrani Chalila, top of the Amud. Chizrani Chalila, I'm going in a circle. Then what? I want to learn Asham from a Chatas. I said, no, Chatas is very different. Chatas, the blood is above the red line. So he said, yeah, but Pesach is not above the red line. Above Pesach is something special, it's 6 hours. Oh, but Chatas doesn't. And you go around in a big circle. Let's see what he did here. Here, remember in the beginning of Shir, I showed you the behind the scenes. Here, Chatos, I want to learn Asham from Chatos. But the problem is, Chatos, the blood is above the red line. So it kicks Asham out of there. Oh, but Pesach, macaroons, the matzah, the whole thing. Oh, so now you can learn Asham from, I guess, Pesach. But Zman Kavua, kick it out of there. But now we'll learn from both of them together. It's Hadashava that they're eaten, you get to eat them. It says Rashi, you get to eat them. And without Lishma, you don't have the right intent, it's possible. So too in Asham. So the says no, but the two of them have a chorus. Now let's see it inside. Or Yeshua, Chazran and Chalila, the din of Leiba b'tzam ma'atzad. Learn from the two of them. You're right. This one has a plus. This one has a plus. But the two of them together have one thing in common. What do they have in common? That they're eaten. So is an asham. Part of it is eaten, and without lishma is possible. Says Gemara, Mishum Dikil Mivrach. Did I skip anything? Chazan Chalila, they have the din of Leiba b'tzad. Mishum Dikil Mivrach, because at the bottom line, Ma'atzad Shovshim Shirkei Yesh B'tzad Kares. There's a kares. Chatos, it comes from a kares. Pesach, if you don't do it, you get kares. Amar Yeshua, loy. So what's the difference about chatos? Chatos is something special. The blood goes above the red line. That the chatos, sometimes on Yom Kippur, the chatos of Yom Kippur, the blood goes lifnai v'lifnim. By the way, just thinking that when are we considered like lifnai lifnim? We had a Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, if anybody remembers.
Yes.
Who said that? Very good. What's your name? Shalom Aleichem. Huh? From where? You should come around more often. The Gemara in Rosh Hashanah says that by Tkiyas Shofar, we're like lifnai v'lifnim. Very choshev. That's fine. We're not talking about the inner, the one time a year in the chatos Yom Kippur. We're talking about regular chatos. She says so, but Rabbi Shua could have answered Shim nichnas dama lifnim psula. So now we're going to see a number of times. We don't have to, but there's a possible. Chatos sheyuva medama. If you bring the blood of a chatos inside where the heichal chaval, I don't have it. Where's that little Beis Hamikdash maybe? The plastic one. There's a little plastic one a kid bought with his own money and gave it to me. He bought it off a kid that does 3D, what is it called? 3D printing. Here we go. I'm going to use it today. Wow. I just got injured. It's very sharp stuff. Anyways. Shkoyach. This is the heichal. Oh, you have the thing. This is the heichal. So if you bring the blood into the heichal, it ruins the chatos. Toss the chatos. So why is that not a pircha? You can't learn asham from a chatos because if you bring the blood of a asham into the heichal, it doesn't do anything. If you bring the chatos, it does. Says Gemara, Isla Rebelezer Afa Asham. It's not true. Even if you bring asham into the heichal, it ruins it also. So that's not a big milo for a chatos. So why isn't the answer if she came mechaper zachayavi krisus? Chatas comes to be mechaper for karas. Says Gemara, mechatas shmiyas kol. I'm bringing you. We're talking about a different chatas that doesn't have karas. If you know testimony, you don't testify. You have to bring a chatas, and over there's no karas. Shekein tuuno arba matonois. Oh. So we know Zrika goes, we spoke about Zrika that goes on the corner, that's Shtaim Shem Arba. A Chatos needs 4 corners. 4 corners. Not just one that equals 2, you need 4. So what is he saying? You could have asked him, you could have said, what do we use? Where am I, Rabbi Shmuel? Oh, because he holds like Rabbi Shmuel that all korbanos need 4 corners. We're still going. Why does he have to say that the blood of a chatas goes above the red line? There's other things that chatas is different. He said, no, it's not different. All the animals, all the korbanos need 4 matanos. So he says, "Shekain tuuna al arba kronos." Kronos over here is corners. We're going to talk about a keren, which is on top, but kronos over here means the corner. You need 4 corners, meaning you got to go like this. Look at this. You have to do 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. The other korbanos you could just do right on this corner, shtaim in arba, and you do right over here, shtaim shem arba. It's not 4 corners. It's 4 walls, but not 4 corners. The chatos, you have to use your finger and apply the blood. Hoika keren, Now, Karen, now we're going up here. There's a little ramp over here. It's very scary. It's not very wide, but it's enough for a person to stand on, right over here. Over here. And he stands over here, and he applies the blood to these corners. See the corners? Oh, now you can see them. 1, 2, 3, 4. The horns. The Karen is not corner, horns. Also, when you apply the blood, you go smear it down the wall. Like you go like this, all the way down. I think he might have done a little bit. Let me see. Is this it? Ooh, wow. The schmack. Okay, so he used his finger and he did the chuda.
That's how tall it is? Like this portion?
That horn is 2 feet tall, so it doesn't look 2 feet tall, but whatever. Okay. Elochad mitreit last time in Okat. He only said one thing, that the blood goes above the red line. He could have used the other. You're right. There's other things that Chatas has that we don't have. Let's do a few more lines before these guys mamish start coming in. 2 more minutes. Omar Mar. Omar Yeshua. Loi imamarta. What did Rabbi Yeshua say? That the blood of you can't learn Osham from a Chatas because Chatas blood goes above the red line. Leimele Rabbi Eliezer. Osham nami dome lamala. He should learn from a Chatas. The blood of Osham also goes above. You're right, it doesn't go above, but he should learn from a Chatas. It goes above. Once you're learning something, you're learning Osham from a Chatas. That what? That you need to have the right intent. Learn also the blood goes above. You can't say that. Why? Because you learn from Moila. When a person brings a gift to Baruch Hu, the entire animal goes on top of the mizbeach. Yet the blood goes below the red line. So Asham, that's not as chomer. You could eat from it. Certainly the blood should go below the red line. So he says, but oila doesn't come to forgive. You can prove from the bird, the Chatas bird, that is mechaper. And where do you put the blood of the Chatas bird? Below the red line. Only the oila bird goes above the red line. So I don't know if we have a good picture yet. I wanted to do no, but here. So we never really discussed this in a long time. When it comes to the birds in the Beis Hamikdash, the kohen grabs it a certain way. You can see in this picture, he's grabbing the wings between his 2 fingers. He grabs the wings, and with his thumb, he has a nail, and he breaks the back of the neck. Now, if you were to do that outside the Beis Hamikdash, that bird will become a nevela. In the Beis Hamikdash, that's the only way to do it. But that's not zevach. That's not a shechita. That's something else. So, mela, don't bring a raya from a bird. Oila tichiach. The oil will prove it that it is a zevach. Loiri zekiri. I think he might have done one here. Here we go. I want to learn Asham from a oila. What? No. Oila dama. No, it's not good. It's below the red line. Bird. Enim zevach. Okay. Hatzad shoshim the kachim dama lamata. The oila. Okay, it's just in the wrong spot. Well, okay, just standing there for the picture. I get it. But at the end of the day, the Gemara says elam kitzpa. Oila and a bird, there's no. If you get it for free, you buy it for $1, it's okay. But a asham, you have to pay a minimum price. And memela, you can't learn a asham from them. I want to learn that asham. You don't learn from Chaz, you should learn from them. You have to pay at least 2 shekel for it. Now it happens to be that I'm sure there's certain times in history where the price of an animal is less than 2 shekel, so you're stuck. If you have to get a asham, what are you going to do? You can't tell the guy, charge me more. That's cheating. You have to wait until the price goes up. There's certain times that the price is more than 2 shekel. You have to wait. Sometimes you have to wait a year or 2 until you bring in carbon. Let me see if we stop here. Only the chatos you bring the blood above. There's a special example. Typical, right, Ariel? Typical Zevachim. After everything, we come up with the pasuk. What should I do? Should we stop here?
No. They can wait. Why do we have to watch for that? They can wait for us.
There are no 2 lines. Oh, it's not awesome? Okay, so fine. Let's fly. Let's fly. So now the Gemara says, let's do something interesting. You have this Oisa that's mimai, that says no. Only it does lishma. So let's use that and say, Oisa lishma kshera, shalei lishma psula, hoshar zevachim, bein lishman, bein shalei lishman, ksherim. So Mela, I'm asking Rabbi Eliezer, why do you, Rabbi Eliezer, say that a asham if you don't have the right intent? You have shalei lishma, it's possible. You should learn from here. No, only a chatos is possible shalei lishma, but asham is kosher. Ahoy solav dafka, the shir Pesach. At Pesach, at the end of the day, everybody agrees that there's 2 korbanos that if you have shaloi lishma, you toss it. One of them is the chatos that we're talking about, but also the Pesach. So maybe Pesach you toss, so toss also the asham. Hanami lav dafka, the shir lesaif. So the Gemara says, but wait a minute, but you just with the same logic, you'll say that you also left out the oil saif. So the Gemara is Zevachim mila shir mide. A bird, don't bring any right from a bird. A bird is not a shchita. Above and below the red line, there's 2 different places. Right? The types of korbanos you put below the red, above. Only the oila of the oif goes above the red line. So where's this chatas that we're talking about? It goes above the red line. It's not above the red line. It's on the horns. It's different. And Mamela, I can't learn asham from it. Gufa shel keren. It's on the horn itself. Rabbi Isaiah, gewaldike.